84% of people in our region consider themselves Christians. That means the church is everywhere, in our neighborhoods, workplaces, schools, government, healthcare systems, and more. Together, we have the power to transform our community so that everyone can flourish. But sometimes it's hard to see what role we can play and what difference we can make. So you're about to hear a story, and it's about an ordinary person helping our city flourish by integrating their faith into their everyday life. This is a story of the church beyond the pew.
All right, welcome to another episode of Stories Beyond the Pew. I'm here with our good friend, Dan Sullivan.
Yay. I'm glad to be beyond the pew.
Yes, you're our man of many faces. So why don't you just tell us what you're up to these days?
Up to these days, I am, the current excitement is my family is playing at some porch fests coming up.
That's awesome.
So
what do you play?
I play the bass.
Okay.
I've been cramming. My one son is really good on guitar. My other son is really good on the fiddle. And I am trying to catch up with them on the bass so that I don't make them look bad. So
what kind of music do you play?
Only bluegrass.
Only bluegrass. Yep. That's so cool.
Yep.
That's
Which is pretty easy because you just do the boom chuck and I keep up with them and they're awesome. So that's the exciting thing this week in our house.
Okay. Yeah.
Otherwise, normally I'm doing marketing for a bunch of lawyers over at Woods & Woods, which is great, helping veterans. And then I have a little side gig where I do marketing for other people too.
Okay.
And then I preach on Sundays at Westminster, which is just an absolute blast. I keep telling them they need to hire a real pastor. They say, but we like you. And so that's been 10 years.
10 years.
Of
wow.
me
Okay.
trying to get out of a job on Sundays.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
All right. So my first question, I just want to come up right off the bat. Where do you see God in marketing in your law firm?
Yeah. I wish I knew how to say it in Persian, but I could just make it up. There's a Persian saying that a good perfume needs no advertisement. And that is just such a good phrase. And like the Persians take that so far as to say, if you advertise for it, you're lying. And I don't think that's true, but just taking something that's a really good product, so to speak, in our services and trying to help connect it to the people that need it so that they don't get scammed or go to somebody that does a bad job.
Okay.
That's where I see the Lord in it.
Yeah.
Is that I'm not a lawyer. I don't do anything legal there. I just do marketing.
Yeah.
But connecting people that need it with the people that do it really well. And that's where I see the Lord in it.
Yeah.
I mean, because they're lawyers, you can't trust them.
Right. There's that's a huge, just maybe a misconception, but maybe not.
Yeah.
And so people come in with that mindset of, I can't trust them.
Right.
And that's a huge biblical principle. It's truth
Right.
and trust. And so
absolutely.
trying to break down those walls, I'm sure.
And then fulfill that trust, right? To deliver on what we say, what we promise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like you said, you do a lot of things. When you were mentioning Porch Fest, and you were just telling us right before this, something your son said. Yeah. So can you tell our audience?
Yeah. Levi, my guitar player, he's pretty obnoxious. Playing around the house and playing loud and rowdy. And whenever I say, Levi, you could play some songs there's a lot of bluegrass songs about Jesus. And he just busts out into, there's more pretty girls than one, which is not about Jesus. And, but now that we are, here in the next 2 weeks, going to play in front of people, in front of an audience. And he said, Daddy, I want to get some more Jesus songs because when we're singing in front of people, we need to sing more Jesus songs. I'm like, all right, that's awesome. That's excellent.
Okay, so he's 16, you said. So how do you think he got to that place that he wants to do that?
He loves to talk about things that Jesus did from the Bible.
Yeah.
During the summer, we do a summer camp for neighborhood kids, and he won't tell me because he wants to keep it a secret, but other counselors will tell me, man, Levi really told the parable of the Good Samaritan to these 4 8-year-olds today, and they loved it, you know.
Oh, cool.
So he enjoys talking about Jesus and telling stories of what Jesus did.
Mm. Yeah. Wait, so what's this summer camp in the neighborhood?
Summer camp in the neighborhood, we take about 4 blocks.
Who's we?
We is People of Praise.
Okay.
We're national organization, but we're the local expression of it.
Okay.
And we go to all different churches, and we're Catholics and Protestants, and we try to live close to each other and share our stuff and share daily life in Jesus and to support one another.
So you're also part of this organization?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you didn't mention that. I said you're a man of many faces.
Yep. So
there's another one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm in that, and we do a summer camp for all the neighborhood kids around TP Park, and we have walking groups. We don't drive them, so it's however far you can walk. That's why I say it's about 4 blocks.
Yeah.
And these big we call them walking school buses. They're just crowds of people, and they walk out and pick up kids and bring them. And it's like a vacation Bible school or something like that.
Yeah.
It's just, here's the thing. Everybody knows a church. We live in Evansville. There's over 250 churches.
Sure.
So it's not so much about getting people to go to our church or go to this church or go to that church. It's how can you draw near to Jesus? How can you grow in Jesus? Yeah. And find a church where you grow in Jesus. And you probably know about one. You probably already have one. Yeah. But it's Wednesday. It's Tuesday afternoon. Here's a chance to grow in Jesus and play water dodgeball or whatever too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Levi has really developed a way to tell younger kids the gospel and to tell Bible stories and to act out Bible stories from that camp. Mm-hmm. And then that turns over to, we live on a city park. And so there'll be a bunch of kids playing over on the city park. And he'll say, Daddy, I think I'm going to go out and do camp. And doing camp means the model of what he's learned how to do at summer camp, he's going to go do with these kids that are playing at the park.
Wow.
So play games. Hey, do you guys want to hear a Bible story? A what? And sometimes they've heard one in Bibles in Sunday school or whatever, or their grandma told them one, or their dad or mom told them one, and then he'll just tell them a story out on the playground.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, so I'm sure he's learning, or he's doing those things out of the way he's been raised, the way he watches his parents interact with people.
Likely.
So how did you get to that point? I want to know personally how you can raise your children like that. Like what kind of intentional things have you done?
Yeah, well, we include them probably to a fault. We have included our kids in everything we've done from the beginning.
Yeah.
So, 25 years ago, I was preaching at a college Bible study, and my oldest son was in a backpack, and he'd fall asleep during the worship time, and then he'd stay asleep while I would preach, and then he would start to wake up at the end, and all attention was off. Everybody saw this cute baby on my back, and I knew
I have to land the plane 30 minutes early.
Yeah, exactly. I knew I'm done as soon as I hear the front row go, oh, and then we're done.
Yeah.
So just involving them in it, in every bit of it, and participating. I just came across a video the other night when I used to be the pastor at the rescue mission, and a church donated a bunch of gifts for Christmas one year, and I told them to bring them all in the main entrance, which is kind of away from all the residents. Mm-hmm. And so me and my 2 oldest sons, we wrote name tags for every gift. We didn't know what they were. Nobody knew what they were. They were just general. But we wrote a person's name on every gift. Midnight, Christmas Eve, we snuck them all out of the administrative area under the Christmas trees so that these homeless guys staying at the rescue mission would wake up and see presents under the Christmas tree with their names on them.
Oh, gosh, that's amazing.
And I came across that video recently of there's Isaac and David, writing, on the checklist, making sure, we all had Santa Claus hats on and fake beards. making it fun.
That's awesome.
And they were, that was 12 years ago. So they were 12 and 10.
Mm-hmm.
So
cool.
Just including them in it.
Yeah.
In the fun of it and in the adventure of it.
Yeah. So I feel like you are known, or at least for me, the way I think about you, honestly, is that there is no separation whatsoever between going to church, your faith, and any other part of your life. And so first, I just want to hear maybe some like stories of what you do. Like, what do you do during the week that isn't your job related?
Mm-hmm. It's chicken pot pie life. It's Chris Shadwin.
What?
Yes.
Okay, I got to hear it.
He did a sermon on the cafeteria trays. Or no, it was TV dinners. TV dinners and how everything's in a section. You got your Salisbury steak and your carrots, peas and carrots over here, and your cooked apples over here. And I've heard for Evansville guys talk about it, partitioning different segments of your life.
Yeah.
Versus, Chris Shadwin said, chicken pot pie life.
Our mom makes a mean chicken pot pie, so
awesome.
It's got to work its way in.
Yes. It's all meshed together. It's all mixed together. And you could try as much as you want to just eat the chicken out of it, but you're going to eat a pea. You're going to get a carrot in there. And so just really, living like we only have one life. Mm-hmm. And it's all mixed together. Yeah. I think I was living that way, and that was a big part of my Christian life. And then I took the perspectives on world missions class out at Crossroads.
Yeah.
And it was a lot about cross-cultural mission.
Okay.
And my wife and I were taking that, and we kind of realized, we're these white people in the suburbs of Evansville taking this cross-cultural mission class, but we are really cross-cultural every single day. We don't fit in with it. I've never fit in. I was going to say fat in, like the past tense of fit is fat. I've never fat in. And so to realize, to follow Jesus is cross-cultural anywhere outside of heaven.
Yeah.
And so it's on. Like, what culture can I cross here to meet this person, to introduce them to Jesus and to live for Jesus and to talk about Jesus? And then somewhere in there, it also got decoupled from church. So to follow Jesus, it might have been moving to Persia for 2 years.
Yeah.
Where you're not allowed to be a missionary. And then, you're talking to somebody that the word missionary means, I hate you, I hate your culture, I hate your grandma, and I'm going to make you American.
Yeah.
And so we didn't use that word because none of that was true.
Right.
I love their grandma. I don't want to make them Americans.
Yeah.
And so then it became like learning how to help people follow Jesus right where they are.
Yeah. Which is a transferable skill.
Yes. And which is the book of Acts.
Yeah.
Happening. So so all of that started to play out. And then we came back to Evansville, we moved downtown, and it's like how can we just be Christians and follow Jesus? And it turns out there's a whole lot of people living in our neighborhood that are Christians and follow Jesus.
Yeah.
And just need some support. Just need some help and some cheering on to follow Jesus.
So what are some of those ways that you found to do that?
Oh, some of them are more fun than others.
Yeah.
We get the guy coming up to our door asking for money, and I don't want to give him money, and I feel bad, and it's kind of a bummer, and send him on his way. And my wife was like, "Did you make your lunch?" I'm like, "I did." She's like, "Go take him your lunch," which is, lunch meat sandwich, whatever, but it's all packaged in a Ziploc bag. So I run out the back door, chase him 4 doors down. I'm like, "Dude, I'm not going to give you any money, but this is a lunch that is fresh made." And he's, shocked, ready, like, "You can have it."
Yeah.
So finding just creative little funny things like that. We've always got a couple bottled waters, a couple popsicles, a couple Pepsis or Cokes in our fridge ready. My wife has run over to the park and broken up fights and offered the losers popsicles on our front porch.
Nice.
Just because that, what do they need? They've been sinned against. Their identity, somebody's identity was wrapped up in beating up another person. Let's show them that their identity is they're created by God in his image and they're loved and they can sit on our porch.
Yeah.
So just looking for things. Lately, a couple of people have been generous and given me lawnmowers that are busted. So then my boys would take them apart, put them back together, and then they would work.
Really?
So a guy comes to the door. Hey, can I have $20? My car's broken down. I'm out of gas. Big, long story. I'm like, hey,
sure.
What if I loan you my lawnmower? That guy down there obviously needs his grass mowed, and I bet he'll pay you to do it because I know he will.
Yeah.
I'll loan you a lawnmower. You go down, make some money, bring it back, and we're cool. And that has worked multiple times.
Okay.
We've lost all the lawnmowers eventually. And then...
Like they get stolen or what?
The people just don't come back.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes they come back. We had one guy, he came back, returned the lawnmower, very thankful, had McDonald's in his hand. I mean, he was doing it. Yeah. And then the next day he borrowed it again and never came back.
Oh, okay.
But freely we receive, freely give.
Yeah.
We didn't buy those lawnmowers.
Right.
And it's fun for my kids to learn how to fix lawnmowers and send them back out the door,
Yeah.
So that's been a fun real thing. And then just talking to people. Now, and I say all that, I mean, that's good to give somebody a lawnmower and all that stuff. But all of that opens up a conversation.
Yeah.
To say, what's going on,
Yeah.
I don't want to pry into their life. I don't want to assume anything. But then, we get the conversation going, and then I can be like, can I pray for you, Or, they'll say, I know it's not right, but I did this, this, and this. I'm like, well, Jesus can forgive all that. He forgave all that on the cross. Call on his name, and he'll forgive it in you. And so all of that is to open conversations, right?
Yeah. But you got to hear
build
their story
friendships. Yeah.
first.
Yeah. Yeah. And to build friendships. There's a guy I know from the rescue mission, and I've talked to my wife about him. And like anytime I see him, he's getting $10 just because I know there's no way he can function on his own. Yeah. And can I have a normal conversation with him? No, he's kind of out of his mind. But that's just a thing on us to care for him. Yeah. Whenever just because we know, because I know his situation, and it's an unhelpable situation. Yeah. So sometimes it's stuff like that it's we are not going to have a gospel conversation at all, but then other times there are. Right.
We're just called to be Jesus to those people.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think the real turning point was talking about Jesus in a way that people can follow Jesus, and they don't have to burn up their culture. They don't have to destroy their family. They don't have to go to a building on Sunday. That they can start following Jesus right where they are, just as they are, and then let Jesus instruct them. Jeremy Evans had the best line that I've totally co-opted is to give the Holy Spirit his job back. Yeah. If I see a person and I know, gosh, they obviously got this problem, that problem. There was a really funny time we were mowing grass on a vacant lot, and this drunk lady walked up and she started talking to us and all this stuff, and I knew her name. And I was like, Betty, you should just go home. And my boys were like, Daddy, you know her name? And I was like, I know her she ate dinner at the mission when she was not in this state. Yeah. Telling her to quit being an alcoholic is not going to get anywhere, right? At that moment. The safest thing for her at that moment was that she go home and get over this. Yeah. And to give the Holy Spirit his job back. And let the Holy Spirit work in her to bring that change as she seeks him out. Because I could tell everybody what to do right all day long, and I'd probably be wrong 90% of the time. Yeah. but to connect him to the Holy Spirit who makes the change, who does the renewal on their own terms at their own speed is where it's at.
Yeah. So when I'm listening to just your examples and your story, my mindset, like the pictures or images that I've built up in my mind is that you come home from work and you are just out in your neighborhood or paying attention to what's going on. And that seems exhausting, or even like having kids, raising kids and having programming or whatever for them. What did you have to go through a mindset shift at all of, is it selfishness? Is it dying to yourself of like, how do you have time or capacity?
It's nothing that holy
to live in this mindset of just having conversations all the time. Like,
yeah.
I know that sometimes, like, I married into someone who is a little bit more introverted and needs space or whatever. And so for me to be like, we're going to hang out with the neighbors all day, you know, or whatever, like then it gets exhausting. So how do you balance that? Or is there something you have to go through?
You play a whole lot of Breath of the Wild.
I am there with you. We do. So
no, it's not all just on and out and excited.
Yeah.
But I don't care about my lawn.
Yeah.
It doesn't. It's just dirt and grass. Mm-hmm. Right now we're in a drought, so I am trying to keep it from not being totally dead. But to stand out in the front yard with the sprinkler and talk to the people that walk by, and just to let them know, man, when all of the Black Lives Matter riots were happening, all the protesting, I wanted to run out to every African American kid that walked in front of my house and tell them that they were safe in front of my house. That this was not, you don't have to, like, whatever you feel everywhere else, I am not afraid of you. You are welcome on my porch. I can't say that. That's weird, right? But I can stand on the front yard with my hose and be watering my flowers and my whatever, and kids walk by, I can be like, how's it going? And start a conversation. Yeah. So there's just normal things that washing the car in my neighborhood is a real cultural thing to spend a whole lot of time slowly washing your car. Okay. And I noticed that. I noticed a couple of my neighbors were like, dude, like $3 at the self-wash thing and you'd be done. The guy's been out there for like an hour and a half. And then I realized, okay, wait, that's the thing. That's the thing that you're out. And I realized how many people walking by they were talking to. So, get out there, get an extra length of hose that reaches the car. Yeah. And so just normal, working into normal life. So it's not a part of a program or an activity or I always tease the Love Your Neighbor Day folks. Oh, yeah. I'm like, oh, yeah, we call that a Saturday. And yeah, it's fun. Just the normal things that you do every day can be all of these opportunities for just talking to people and being their friend. Right. And being accessible to them in the conversation.
I just learned the phrase habit stacking.
Oh, what is that?
Well, it's exactly what you're saying is like you have two things that you want to do, but make sure that you, like, if you want to read a book and work out. Yeah. Make sure that you say, okay, I can only read this book by audiobook while working out.
Nice.
And so it sounds like that's what you're doing of like, okay, I need to wash my car, but I also want to be out in the community, or I need to mow my lawn or whatever. Absolutely. And then it's like you make those two things work together.
Yeah. Right. Gosh, I know a guy, and he's like, I need to run these supplies to this ministry that's an hour away. I'm driving an hour there and I'm driving an hour back. You want to ride with me and talk in the car?
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
And I was like, what? I get to sit and talk to you for 2 hours? Yes.
Yeah.
So
yeah, we had some neighborhood kids, and I really, really wanted to like pour into the young girl's life. And I realized one day I was baking something and she was in the house or whatever. And she's like, I've never baked anything in my life.
Yes, perfect.
And I was like, oh, okay. So now anytime I bake something, I'm calling you. You're coming to help me.
Yeah,
and then you can have that relationship.
That'll change her life.
Yeah.
That will absolutely change her life.
Yeah.
Yes.
But it is about paying attention and just having those eyes, putting those eyes of Jesus on and saying, what is God trying to show me? God's already up to a lot of stuff in this neighborhood.
And if I'm afraid of a person, that's going to be a blockage. I'm not going to do it. If I'm judging that person, oh my gosh, they got blue hair, I know all about them.
Yeah.
As soon as I start judging, this happens in the office, right? You start judging people in your office, you immediately...
Jonathan and Sarah, judging them all the time.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, well, Sarah, I'm not going to talk about this around here. My coworkers bust out this big old conversation about tarot cards. And I'm like, I can either judge that as demonic and freak out, or I can be like, whoa, okay, we are talking about spiritual things.
Yeah.
I love talking about spiritual things. So this has just given me permission. You're going to talk about your spiritual things. I'm going to talk about my spiritual things, and we're not going to judge each other.
Yeah.
So, getting rid of those kinds of things, judgments, fear. We had talked to a guy one day, guns on him, and not north side of Evansville guns, down hood guns.
Yeah.
And he left, and somebody was like, wow, you just talked to that guy. And I was like, you know what? I'm not his adversary. Like, he has no interest in shooting me. I'm not the competition.
Yeah.
And we had a great conversation. And that was kind of wild. So just, I'm the Lord's and he is mine, and I don't have to be afraid. I don't have to judge. Jesus is the judge. And so that opens up a lot of the habit stacking opportunities.
Yeah, that's cool. Okay, I'm glad we got there.
That's good. Habit stacking.
Yeah.
I remember that.
That is really it on time for us.
This has been fun.
It has been fun.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for dropping by. And
thanks for listening to some stories.
Yeah, I love it. Well, thanks for being here.
All right.
You just heard a story of the church beyond the pew. At 4 Evansville, we believe that the church has the power to transform our community, but it doesn't always show up where and how it should. That's why we're on a mission to help Christians and churches discover the role that they can play in addressing our city's greatest needs. Are you passionate about seeing the church bring God's peace and justice throughout our city? If so, I want to invite you to join the 4 Evansville Collective, a community of people who are passionate about being the church beyond the pew and helping others to do the same. You can support 4 Evansville's mission and gain exclusive access to resources that will help you love our city well. Visit 4evansville.org/collective to learn more.